All right, we should be live. I'm going to check Facebook.
Okay.
We are all set. Perfect. Okay, great. All right, some people will join us, but we will go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our network welcome for our Westy Live. My name is Jamie Chavez. I'm the president and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and every Wednesday we bring to you a live broadcast featuring one of our newest chamber members to give them a chance to talk to you about their business. So if you're new to the broadcast, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. I encourage you to like and follow our Facebook page, and then you'll receive notifications for when we go live in the future. If you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and explore previous broadcasts there as well. They go back for years, so there's a ton of opportunity to learn there. We also offer broadcasts on Mondays, which are dedicated to city updates from councilors, Mayor Pro Tem, and our mayor, as well as other city staff and officials. And so these broadcasts are offered to our chance to hear about what's going on down at City Hall. So we hope that you will tune in for those as well. And then we also reserve one Friday a month for updates from Jefferson County and Adams County. So stay tuned for those for broader county matters as well. As you watch the broadcast this morning, we encourage you to engage with us, drop your comments, ask any questions, or just say hello, and we will get to those during the interview. And now, finally, a warm welcome to Michael Plaia with Farmers Insurance. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Jamie.
Good. We've got a couple of people joining us. Good morning, Dave. Dave's in Canada. Thanks for joining us from up north. And yeah, so I'm just going to turn it over to you, Michael. And if you just want to maybe start with a little bit about your background and what led you into the insurance industry and specifically to farmers.
Not a straight path. So we moved here about 8 years ago, originally from Texas. And so we picked up everything, sold everything, moved here. And then I was a stay-at-home dad for almost 2 years. And we moved here with a newborn. And so I was trying to figure out what to do. I used to be an elementary teacher. I did that for about 7 years. Like I said, not a direct path. People don't go usually into teaching, number one, but if they do, they stay there. My wife's a teacher. And so I followed in her footsteps, trying to do something different. We didn't have kids yet. We were trying to have our summers off. And it's the only perk of being a teacher is, other than it being very rewarding and everything else, there's tons of it. It was one of the best times of my life. But having all that time off was really, really nice. So anyway, started having kids. We moved here. Obviously, this is not an inexpensive place to live. I was trying to look for ways to make more money based on the teacher, coming from a teacher salary. And then someone told me to check out insurance. It's one of those things where it's tied to your work ethic. So the harder you work, the better you typically do. And the harder you work and the better you do, the more money you can make. So the earning potential is very large, and it's also unlimited. So so anyway, started doing that in 2019. Worked under another agent for about a year, another farmer's agent, and then was lucky enough to buy this agency in Broomfield. It's maybe 1.5 miles from my house. So I got really lucky. I took over her office, walked in. I'm sitting at her desk still. So it's really nice. I just kind of took it over. Got her clients, and then since then I've grown the business over the last 5 to 6 years. So
yeah, was there a moment that made you realize that this was the right fit with your skills and your passions?
Yeah, so I've always been in some type of customer service related field, I think. So, and of course, prior to teaching, I was running a small office with my uncle, who was a construction contractor, but I did everything in the office. So I was talking to people on the phone, helping with billing, just helping people in general. The teaching thing was then, I guess I'm helping children, and more so helping their parents in some cases, but that was a different thing. And so, it's one of those where I wanted to do something where I was still dealing with people, preferably adults, and so and getting away from teaching. But really, yeah, I've always had some type of customer service related. Just I don't know, I'm drawn to that, I guess. And this is helping people in a different way, but it's also something that everyone needs. So I also didn't want to go into a business where it was very cyclical, and I was going to be always, my income was going to be staggering and just very, not there one week and not there. I didn't want a job where I was super busy in the summer and then not in the winter, and vice versa. So I was trying to look for something that had a steady, sort of a steady flow, and just was really good. And I love to talk to people, obviously, and so it's just it's a natural thing for me to talk to people. And I used to be really shy. Now I'm not. So I can talk to people, I can help them, and then just protect what matters most. So that's a big deal for me.
Yeah, getting out of that shy stage when one of your biggest things that you need to do is network with people, that can be a challenge.
Yes. Yes.
So what has
Extremely.
surprised you the most about running an agency?
Um, Gosh, probably just all the work that happens behind the scenes. And so like, and then having someone, so when I started, I was literally by myself. I actually did have one employee. He barely lasted a month. He
Mm.
was really young and just wanted to move on to something else. So, okay. But I ran the show for, almost 6 months, I think, straight. So I was dealing with someone calling in, I need an ID card, my auto policy renewed. And that takes like a minute, right? But that was happening on a regular basis. And then I was having a hard time actually getting new people in. And so that part of my job really is getting new business in the door and growing the agency. But also, I spend a majority of my time still actually retaining business. So that actually was surprising too. There are certain people that I talk to almost monthly, if you can believe it, but they actually like to pay their bill monthly manually because they're afraid of automatic payment. There are clients who I acquired 5 years ago. I touch base with them twice a year. I haven't talked to them in years. They will either ignore my message or send me a text like I'm good, talk to you next year or never.
Yeah.
So I had the impression that I was going to be talking to people constantly, and they were going to be wanting to call all the time. And then I realized that there are certain people, it's one of those where it's like the 80-20 rule, which applies to in certain businesses where I probably talk to 20% of my clients 80% of the time. And so, and it's the same ones. And it's interesting. That's fine. Love it. I had a little old lady in my house or my office earlier today. So 85 years old. She only does things in person. And it was a very short conversation, but she lives a mile away. She just wanted to come and hang out. And we talked business for 2 minutes and then talked about her great grandkids for 30. And so
Yeah.
she just wanted to hang out, and that's fine. I'm happy to do it. That's part of me retaining the business. Like she likes that I'm here and she can come talk and stuff. And so, but really it's all the stuff that happens behind the scenes that people don't think about. I don't have a like a call center here for people to call in and just, it's me, myself, and I sometimes, and then I have staff also in the other hall, in the other office across the hall. They
Yeah.
help me with that kind of stuff too. So
Yeah, for sure. So for the maybe the next question I should ask is what types of insurance do you specialize in and who are your ideal clients?
yeah, so the easy answer is I do everything except health insurance. But then people are like, okay, what does that mean? So auto, home, life, motorcycles, travel trailers, RVs, rental homes, umbrellas, um, and then on the professional commercial side, business side, I do everything from restaurants, coffee shops, retail space, office space, like where you're sitting in an office right now. Like I could insure the office, right? I insure my own office here, right? So that kind of stuff, retail. Um, and then I can help if they have employees. I can do workers' compensation. If they want umbrellas on the commercial side, if they have a commercial vehicle, I can do commercial auto. On the commercial side of things, I'm more of a broker. I'm not
Okay.
tied to farmers. On the personal side, I'm kind of in farmers, but farmers allows us to actually broker out. I can write progressive auto insurance. I don't
Oh, got
promote
it.
that.
Okay.
I just promoted it, but I don't promote that usually because I'm a farmer's agent. So, but at the same time, that's something that opened up this year where I can do it. And so if I quote you in farmers and farmers has two auto companies and maybe you don't like the price still, I can say, hey, I got this one other thing we can look at if you want to. There's just no bundling discounts in the farmer side because it's with one of our main competitors, funny enough, right? But anyway, I can kind of broker things out. On the commercial side, I can go to five, six, seven, eight different companies and try to shop insurance for people if they want that. I try farmers first though. But so and then for a perfect client, there is no perfect client. I'll say I'll do good and great. Good
Okay.
client would be literally anyone. I mean, I'll sign someone that's a single guy renting an apartment with one car because I hope to keep them through their journey where maybe they're going to get married, have kids someday, buy a house. Oh, and maybe they're going to be a small business owner. And if I'm with them that whole journey, I'm in it for the long run, obviously, and I play the long game. am I going to make a lot of money? If I think of it financially on a renters in one car, no. But I don't think of it that way. It's more of, can I help them? Yes, great. That's what I care about first. Then I also think about their journey down the road. And I've had that happen. I know clients by name where it was two single people. I had the husband and the wife, they weren't married yet. They both got married, moved into this big house. Then they upgraded to another bigger house, got new cars, more expensive cars, things like that, where, I've got to ride the wave with them this whole time and they've been with me. They were one of my first clients. That's why I kind of know them by name. So I signed them in 2020. And so, but it's a good story of where they started and where they are now. And and then life insurance came into the picture too once they got married. So then I could help them with all that. And they work corporate jobs, so there's no small business. But a great referral would be they have more, the auto, the home, the life, and maybe a small business, and I can package all of it literally. So it's one-stop
Yeah.
shopping. So that's a great client.
And then what sets your agency apart from others in the area or in the farmers network?
Good question. So I'll tell you the most often complaint I hear from other people when I talk to them, and it's I can't get anyone on the phone, or they're never available. I leave a message and I never get a call back. I just had this happen earlier. So I have a new client perhaps coming in this week who she left a message for her agent last Friday. So I'm not expecting people to go through, hey Nina. I said, yeah. I return calls next day. Now, if it's a Sunday, I'm with my family, give me a day, right? An extra day. But if someone left me a message on a Friday, my God, that's a first thing Monday morning thing. If I maybe didn't get to it or something. And now that we're into Wednesday, I'm like, that's unacceptable. And
Yeah.
so, of course, she called the office and she lives down the street. She called the office. She was able to get to me within a few minutes. Now, if I'm not here because I'm in a meeting or I'm out and about doing a ribbon cutting like yesterday, we were at a ribbon cutting, right? They can take a message. I'll call back the next day. So just being available, it's one of the easiest things to do, but it's funny that so many people don't do it. So just being available for your clients, but being available and just because that's what I'm selling. I may not be the cheapest insurance policy. So if you pay a little bit more, why are you paying more? Well, you get me, and you get my staff. And then, do we have call centers? Yes, we do. If something happens in the middle of the night and you need to get a tow or roadside assistance, yeah, you call them. You don't call me, right? I don't change your tire. But it's just having this team of people and then also realizing the value in that too. Also, proactive communication. So deductibles for most people this year are going up on their homes and they don't even know it. Even my own clients don't know this. So I'm proactively reaching out to clients like, hey, guess what? Your deductible now is going to be this instead of what it used to be because you're in this zip code and it's considered a high risk for hail. So I'll ask them, did you see your renewal documents? They all go to an online portal. Nothing's mailed anymore. And no one has said, sure, I saw it and I understand. No one said that to me. And then they're all
Yeah.
like, well, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for telling me that I had this happen because in some cases their deductible could be five figures. So they need to understand that. They may have a $10,000 deductible if they have a hail loss next year, let's say. And if no one told them that, and I just said, oh, well, you didn't get the email and go find it on the online portal, and well, it's just not fair to them, I think. Will I lose a client? Perhaps because I'm telling them and I'm not hiding behind a piece of paper. Yes, I lost a client last week, but I was honest about it and I'll sleep better knowing that. And plus he said, and the guy said, you know, word for word, I love you. I just don't love my deductible. And so I'm sorry, I have to go. And I said, I totally understand. I
Yeah.
said, just let me know if I can help in the future and we'll go from there. Maybe I said, just keep my card in your junk drawer. Call me in a couple of years if things change. You never burn a bridge and you just always, you never know. I have had clients come back after a couple of years. So, but that's a big thing, the proactive communication. I used to be a teacher, so I try to educate people, talk about what the liability limit means, not just it's a number on a sheet of paper, like what does it actually mean? And then just being involved in the community. I know agents who don't leave their office. I know agents who never go to their office. I'm kind of a hybrid. I do both. So I like to be in the community. I like to help small businesses. I like to actually go to my clients' businesses and like use their services if I can. And so things like that.
Awesome. Got it. Do you have like a good explanation? I think a lot of people are kind of wondering about deductibles going up. Do you know if there's a reason why that's happening right now?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So in the past, and I'll say 5 years ago past, so not distant past, people had $1,000 deductibles, maybe $2,500 deductibles on a wind or a hail loss. And in certain zip codes, people were getting new roofs every 3 to 5 years because they were getting hit that often. The roofers were putting on cheap shingles that were not impact resistant, and so they would one or two storms and you're done. So, and back then, 5 years ago, an average home policy was probably $2,000 a year for premium. So they're paying $2,000, maybe only 1,000, let's say, for their deductible. 3 grand for the year, they get a new roof. Well, the roofs could be $25,000, $30,000. So the insurance company's way upside down. Well, if it happens a couple times, it's not a big deal. But when it happens to hundreds of thousands of people, those upside down transactions add up, right? And so then they started raising deductibles to 1%. A lot of people have 1% of the rebuild of their home. Um, Now it's so that could be $5,000 instead, or even $7,000 or $8,000. They still were seeing things being upside down. A common misconception is that insurance companies are sitting on billions or trillions of dollars or something. Now, I will say there are some companies that have huge cash reserves. I know one of them by name. I also know how, in my opinion, why they have such big cash reserves is because they're stingy when the claims get paid out. Farmers is really quick to pay claims out, so we're not sitting on all this money that people think we are, and so it goes in waves. So when May, June, July hits in the summer, claims are intensive and hot and heavy. In the winter, and then you have a break actually in the spring, and then in the wintertime you have frozen pipes. So then it kind of ramps up again. But the number one claim, almost 60, 65 or 66% of all of our claims now in farmers, hail. So that's why. So they're paying out tens of thousands. They used to pay out tens of thousands. Now they're almost asking the homeowners to almost come and meet in the middle. And that's what it's turning into. But it's because of just people and roofers, door knocker roofers who, and people have all had this happen to them. I just had someone last week. Hey, we'll get you a new roof. We'll help you file a claim. And there's
Yeah.
not enough
4 or 5 times
damage.
a summer, I feel like somebody knocks on the
Yeah.
door. Mm-hmm.
I always tell them, hey, I own my own roofing company. And then they just walk away.
I'm going to start using that. That's
Right. Right.
That's
Works
great.
at
I'm going to start
Costco
using
too.
that for everybody,
Yeah,
actually.
when the AT&T phone people at Costco pester you when you're shopping, I already have AT&T. I don't
There
even
you
know who I
go.
have.
Yeah.
They have T-Mobile. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You have what they're selling, and then what's their objection to that?
Yeah.
Well, no, I still need to sell you a roof. Well, no, you don't. I just told you I'm a roofer. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's a 1 second go away. But yeah, so those kind of people have also ruined things.
Yeah.
Lots of claims filed, and then adjusters are fighting, and then they're trying to find damage, and then maybe paying out and buying a new roof when it probably could have gone a little bit longer.
Yeah.
A lot of local jurisdictions are actually mandating the impact resistant shingle now on purpose for that reason, so that people can hopefully go longer, maybe go 10 years, not have one storm kill your roof, but maybe five. And you can
Mm-hmm.
go 10 years. And then I coach people, have an emergency fund, make sure you have some liquid funds. But all the roofers I use now that I promote to or push to my clients, to refer to, they all have financing programs now. They have to, because people are having to come out of pocket 5 figures and they don't have it. A lot of households are still paycheck to paycheck, and so you don't have 5, 6, 7, 8,000 or even more, 10,000 just sitting there. So
Yeah.
hopefully that answers it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
This might be somewhat related, maybe not. What's kind of one policy that you can think of that's often overlooked or misunderstood, and how do you educate on that?
Yeah, auto policy. So auto policy has bodily injury, and it's a split limit. So I'll give you an example. So it's like 100,000 per person, 300,000 per accident. Then there's another limit for property damage, and that may be another 100,000. I've had people who have been driving for many, many years tell me that they think that property damage of 100,000 is to cover their car, not the other person's car. So I talked to someone recently that had 100, 350 on that instead of 100. It's common to match the first and the second and the last number. He had 50. And I said, why? And just so you know, too, to manipulate that on a policy is like $1 a month sometimes. It's one of the cheapest things to manipulate. For $50,000 extra, $1 a month. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, why'd you do this? And it was someone who actually transferred to my agency from another agent who was not another farmer's agent who was not answering his phone. So anyway, he transfers to me. It's the first thing I look at. And I said, hey, and he goes, well, I've got an old truck. There's no way it's worth 50 grand. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you talking about? I said, you have collision coverage for that. That's separate. I said, that's for the other people. And I said, how many people in your neighborhood have EVs or Teslas that are $80,000 to $100,000 now? What if you hit one of those?
Right.
That's what you need to think about. That is so misunderstood. Property damage on an auto policy. I have to coach people on that quite a bit. And I try to get people to go 100 or more, 100,000 or more on that if they can. Depends on the budget. State minimum is only 15,000. That is so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's so insufficient.
That's
so
crazy.
So if someone does not have the budget and they have to do the minimum, which is 25,000 per person, 50,000 per accident, I can do 50,000 for property damage, and it only costs them a few dollars extra, gives them a little bit of boost, and I just warn them, hey, be careful, But at least because if you hit, even a basic new car these days is 30 to 40 grand. And so not that you're going to be buying them a new car if you hit and total someone else's car, but you don't know what you're going to hit. You can't plan an accident. You can't plan if you're going to hit the Tesla or a 20-year-old Toyota Camry that's worth $5 grand, right? You don't know. So anyway, that's a huge one I talk to people about all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. I got hit by a car, I guess this was 4 or 5 years ago now, and they didn't have any insurance. And so then that was a whole other thing that I had to deal with. They didn't even have a driver's license. So
that's why auto rates are so high. That's one of the reasons. About a quarter of the people on the road have nothing or the minimum. If they had the minimum, depending on how much damage was to your car, they may have only had 15,000 in damages anyway. You could have still had to file under your collision coverage, right? Pay your deductible, hope to try to get it back from them, but good luck. If they don't have insurance and they don't even have a license, they probably have nothing to go after. It's sad. It's a problem the state's been dealing with for years. So I also coach people on having uninsured motorist liability on their policy too, to help with your injuries, because you just never know who's going to hit you. You can't plan that either.
No.
Can't plan that either. Yeah.
So maybe what's one of the biggest challenges that you faced as a small business owner in general, and then what did you do to overcome it?
For me, it was it's kind of related to insurance specifically, I guess, but there's one of us on every corner. And so how do I differentiate myself from the guy literally across? There's a farmer's guy. I could almost walk to his office. He's like 3 blocks that way. There's another one down south of me a mile, and then in the chambers, I go to the chamber events, there's other insurance people there. Right. And so, how am I different? So overcoming that and trying to figure out, how do I position myself and what's my value play? Because if they can just call anyone around me and get insurance, and auto insurance has become kind of a commodity. It's hugely rate driven. I can match everything 1-to-1. But then if I am still a little bit more, okay, what are you still giving me? Well, and it's me. It's my service. It's my local, office here. You can come hang out with me. I'll buy you a beer or lunch if you want to. Just being in the community. But overcoming it was, like I said, I used to be kind of shy. I was used to talking to small groups of people and not a lot of people. And so joining the chambers, forcing myself to go to every ribbon cutting for the first few years I was in business. Just basically just putting myself out there, and always just showing my face at everything, to where now people recognize me. And they expect me to be at events. So if I don't go to a ribbon cutting now, where were you?
Where were you?
Exactly. So, but just being more, and then I like to get there kind of early. I like to actually hold the ribbon. I was holding the Broomfield one yesterday. And so I like to do that. And I know the owner of Matsumoto. So I met her almost a year ago now, I think. So I followed her journey. And so it was a proud moment for me to be there for her. And so, that may turn into some relationship later too, because I'm starting to get to know her more now. She's in your chamber. She's in the Westminster Broomfield chamber now too. And so she's doing the same thing. She is just getting out and about in front of everyone and showing her face. Showing my face has been the easiest way of sort of building my business and earning it. But at first, I'm sitting here at my desk and the phone wasn't ringing. So I got to do something, right? No one knows Michael with farmers at Broomfield. I'm in this little nondescript building and garden center. There's no signage outside. There's just outside my office here. And so no one knows I'm here. I have to make it happen. I have to make sure they know I'm here. And so that's kind of what I did. It was just the exposure.
Yeah.
And so far it's worked out for me. I'm over that hurdle. I'm at 5. I'm in my 6th year now. So yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah.
What lessons have you learned on your way in your journey from clients or other people that you work with that have shaped the way that you lead your agency?
Yeah, 100%. It's based on customer service. Because like I mentioned earlier, the big complaints that I've gotten from people, and I don't want to be that agent. I don't want to hear from a client, "Hey, you didn't call me back." God, that's the last thing I want to hear, And yesterday, and I'll give you a quick little true story. Guy called yesterday when I was at the ribbon cutting, right? And both of my staff here were on the phone. He had to leave voicemail. Well, apparently he didn't like that, but I have voicemail for that reason. And it says, "Hey, if we're busy, we'll call you right back." Well, I thought a guy here called him back. He didn't. So, and I didn't find out till this morning.
Yeah.
So I called him first thing. He wasn't upset or anything, but he usually expects to get to me. And I said, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I was really busy. I was at this event yesterday for, a friend who was having a ribbon cutting for a new." Once I explained what I was doing, he goes, "Oh, it's fine. How's the family?"
Yeah, you weren't golfing.
He didn't even care anymore. But it's one of those where I felt a little guilty, right? So I do take that to heart. I mean, I want my service to be because again, this guy could have called anybody, right? And this guy in particular was personal referral from a family member who was one of my clients. So I don't ever want to tarnish any relationship, right? And then want them talking on the back end like, "Oh, Michael he didn't respond to me, And so anyway, I don't want to be that guy, but that has been a huge thing for me and I think I answered your question. I went off on a tangent, but anyway, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. We have just a minute or two left here. And so I want to ask if there's anything that we missed that you would like to talk about, and then also how people can get a hold of you.
Yeah. Google me. I just hit over 100 reviews on Google. I'm really happy about that. So find me online, call my office, email me, find me on the Westminster Chamber website. And so, set an appointment with me. You can do that online as well. And happy to talk with anybody. I'm a no pressure guy, so I seriously will just take in all the information I can and see if I can help you. And if not, I have no problem referring you to someone I know in the industry and say, "Hey, maybe they can help you because of whatever situation you have, or you have a home in Golden and maybe I can't touch your home because you're in a heavy fire zone now." So, but I give free advice all day and I'm okay with that because you never know when someone's going to come back, right? But I turn business away. I probably turn away more than I get, which is, I shouldn't say that, and that's sad. But anyway, it just happens, right? It just happens. You don't, sometimes it's not a good fit for me or for them. And so, but that's the game. It's all about just talking to as many people as possible, helping as many people as possible. And, but anyway, setting an appointment with me is great because then we can take some time to just kind of relax. If you want to come hang out with me, see my face, love it. Love to do face-to-face and talk to people. But that's my big thing. I just like to help as many people as I can. So,
awesome.
And do it in a customer service focused way. So,
yeah, definitely. Well, Michael, thanks for joining me on the broadcast today. And thanks for everybody who tuned in and who will replay this later. We definitely appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. Everyone have a great week.
All right. Same. I'll see you around.